Good morning and welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. I'm Tommy Krysan. Going to be joined this morning by Hunter McCann, who, of course, you always hear on Sports Shorts Radio, which tomorrow night, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. due to the LSU kickoff. Ronnie Rance, I think he's playing a business golf trip today. He was in Orlando playing golf. I think he's trying to qualify for the Champions Tour. Now that he's an old guy, I think he's trying to shore up the game and get on the Champions Tour. So we'll get you an update on that. But Ronnie will be with us for Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow. He's actually going to the Arkansas game and going to come back. Private jet life, that's a fun thing, no question about it. So we're going to have Sports Shorts Daily for you today. I'm at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, where I'm at on a couple of days a week, obviously. And here at Tremonti's, it's not too early to order your fried turkeys, rotisserie smoke. Get your orders in, all of the side dishes. Order those turkeys now. They're taking the orders. They're going to sell a bunch of turkeys. You need to be on that list. You can get that done. Also, Sports Shorts Daily brought to you by LeBear's Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge, the Barstool Sportsbook, where we'll do radio from tomorrow night, where you can bet on the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball. Oh, that's over. Got to take that off of there. College football and more at the Barstool Sportsbook at the LeBear's Casino, also in Baton Rouge. Also, like and share this video. That's very important. Please like and share this video. That certainly helps out. That's like your ticket to be a part of this. No question about that. And as I mentioned, Sports Shorts Radio After Dark tomorrow, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Radio from the Barstool Sportsbook at LeBear's Casino. So remember that because of the morning kickoff. That's what we got for you with Sports Shorts Radio After Dark. All right, with all that being said, we got the table set. I bring in Hunter McCann. Hunter, good morning. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Hey, let's back it up. Last Saturday, you and I were two of the very few people who predicted LSU to win straight up. Yeah, take the 13.5, but win straight up against Alabama. I haven't spoke to you since that game, so I want to get your quick thoughts on the LSU win. Just now that you've had a week to let it set in, give me your thoughts, Hunter.
It's still surreal. It really is. I mean, even though we talked about it last week, I did think LSU would be a contender in that game. I did think they had a chance. That's why I said last week maybe sprinkle that money line just a little bit, and I sure did, and it really paid off for that sense. But everything about Death Valley last week was just magical. It was exactly what you tell people that Death Valley is like. That's the game you show people. The electricity in that stadium was insane. I was there, obviously, and after the fourth quarter, when we were going into overtime, it was ominous. The fog started rolling in, the mist was in the air, and I went back and listened to the broadcast and heard them. They talked about it on air, that this was truly the pantheon of concrete, and this was Death Valley. This was the atmosphere you tell people about, and it happened there in overtime. And where my are, if you could draw a straight line down, I'm in the lower bowl. I'm on that pylon that Mason Taylor crossed to have the 2-point conversion to win the game. I don't think I'll ever have a game experience like that in Death Valley again. So not even just to be right last week, but just in the sense that the Tigers were competing, I would have came and said the same thing. They competed in that game, and not only competed, they won the game. And it was absolutely insane.
Well, here's the thing. Like 10, 15 years from now, there's going to be like 500,000 people that are going to say they were at that game. Yeah. It's just like, you got like 250,000 say they saw Billy Cannon run the punt back. Well, obviously not that many were there. 500,000 say they beat Florida. They were there when they beat Florida #1 in the late 90s. And that's what's going to happen with this game. Everybody's going to say they were there, whether they were there or not. Yeah. Hunter, did you see the video with Chris Fowler and Herb Street on the airplane?
On the airplane, yeah.
That was really cool. I think all LSU fans and college football fans should watch that video. LSU needs to save that, which I'm sure they've done, because that is just like a major shout out for LSU, the LSU fans, yeah. Tiger Stadium, SEC football. I mean, that was just major, and I'm sure they've saved that. But man, that was a really cool video by those two guys. And what I liked about it is, they're having a couple of cold beers, so. They were being real. That's a good thing. So I like that. I'm glad you got to see it. I figured that you did. So anyway, let's move forward. You got a big one tomorrow morning, a little over 24 hours from now. LSU, Arkansas. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. That stadium's up on a hill in Fayetteville. Nothing to block the wind, which can affect the passing game. It can affect the punt game. It can affect a lot of things in that game. So, what do you think going in? Your general thoughts? And I know we're going to give picks. You can give your picks now, since if you want, because you're not going to be on the radio until that game is over. So, if you do want to pick the LSU Arkansas game, you can. I'm not going to pick it because that's my pick at meatandpotatoesusa.com.
Gotcha.
So I'm not going to say what I think, but when we get to that. So first, your general thoughts and comments about the matchup with the Razorbacks.
So Arkansas always plays LSU tough, always, no matter what the circumstances are. And coming off such an emotional win, and Arkansas coming off such an emotional defeat against Liberty, it's one of those games that spells catastrophe for the Tigers. I think the difference maker here is the injury that KJ Jefferson is still dealing with. If he is going to be able to play, and if he does, is he to his full extent? I think that's going to be the difference maker. If KJ Jefferson plays, and the Tigers are going to have to be on their best game and not make any mistakes, because Arkansas at home is a dangerous place. But with all that being said, I do think the Tigers win this game. I think that they will have the ability to stay hot. They now know they control their destiny. You just came off a big win against Bama. Brian Kelly has shown he can have a team prepared and have a very dynamic game plan in order. And I think it's been strictly business all year for him, and I don't think that's going to change. I think what we said last week in the post-game interview, we'll celebrate this for 24 hours, and then it's back to work. And I think that's probably what they got to this week.
Well, when he was asked Monday, hey, Coach, is this a trap game? He said, well, it's only a trap game if you think it is. Okay, It's all mental. It's all right here. It's the mindset that he and the staff have created and the players have bought into. If you think it's a trap game, guess what? It's going to be a trap game. I don't think Brian Kelly's going to let that happen. Hey, they came off the big win against Ole Miss. Okay, big win, convincing. Whipped Ole Miss, and Ole Miss, that's their only loss to date. But they got a big matchup with Bama in Oxford tomorrow. So I don't, and he had the open date. They're coming off the big win against Bama. Look, Brian Kelly's been around 30-something years. He knows what to do. He's not going to let this trap game thing jump in there. I mean, it's just not going to happen, I don't believe. Now, do I think it's impossible for Arkansas to win? No. Like you said, Hunter, they always play LSU tough.
Yep.
And, you just never know what's going to happen. If we knew what was going to happen, we wouldn't be doing this video. We'd be on an island smoking a cigar and drinking whiskey and having somebody bring me lobster. That's what we'd be doing. And again, I'm not going to make my prediction on the air for the LSU-Arkansas game because you see it on the screen, meatandpotatoesusa.com. If you buy that pick from me, it's guaranteed to win. If it's not a winner, you're going to get your money back. Guaranteed winner at meatandpotatoesusa.com. Andy Gallo's got picks posted. Stephen Miller has got picks posted, so we want you to check that out. All right, Hunter, without any further ado, you got to give us your thoughts / your pick on the LSU-Arkansas game.
Yeah, and that is one of my picks I'm going to have this weekend. I'll have those picks because obviously we're going to be on after hours tomorrow night, Sports Shorts After Dark. So I'll have those picks on my 3 college football plays right now. I'm 18-6-1. I pushed last week, unfortunately, in one of my NFL picks. So 18-6-1 the last 25 picks, doing pretty well. With that being said, LSU is one of my picks tomorrow that I will be posting later this afternoon. I took the Tigers when it was -3. When I looked a little while ago, it was -3.5 now. It had got up to -4. I still like the line. I think I took it to -3 and put multiple units on it. I just think LSU, whenever you talk about a trap game, whenever you talk about a game where it just spells emotional defeat, this one doesn't have that to me. I just think the Tigers are going to stay hot. I think that the weather, it's going to be below 40 during when the ball's kicked off in Fayetteville tomorrow. And a lot of people talked about is the weather going to affect it. Both teams are not used to playing in cold weather. If it's going to affect anything, it's going to affect both teams. And I think LSU's the more talented team here. So give me the Tigers. -3 is what I got, but I'd take it all the way up to -4. I think LSU wins by a touchdown.
Well, I locked it in at the 3.5. So that's the last thing I saw. But I saw 4. I saw it go back down to 3. So people might want to wait till right before kickoff unless you're really, really confident in what's going on with that. All right, so it's a big one for LSU. Alabama, Ole Miss is a big one. But what I think is important is LSU controls their destiny. They beat Arkansas. They beat A&M. they're in Atlanta, in all likelihood, against Georgia. That's really got to have some crazy stuff happen for Georgia not to be in that game. But, so I don't think you should get ahead and worry about Atlanta. I don't think Brian Kelly's going to let that happen. It's all going to be about the Razorbacks and 11 a.m. tomorrow morning and get that job done. Then get ready for UAB, which is an 8 o'clock kick in Tiger Stadium that following Saturday. And then on Monday, we'll find out what time the kick is for the A&M game. So the LSU Tigers are in a great spot now, number 7 in the college football playoff rankings. And nobody thought they'd be right there when we got to the middle of November.
No, not a chance. It's crazy. If you had told me this, a month ago, 2 months ago, I would have laughed in your face. I would.
Well, I think that the turning point is if you'd have said that after they got whipped by Tennessee, people would have thought you crazy. You've been drinking too much. We got all this wine behind me at Tremonti's. You'd have cleared off a shelf here. Who knows? But, so I think that you just got to credit the LSU coaching staff and the players and then the fans. Brian Kelly made no bones about it. The crowd last Saturday night helped his football team.
So I do want to ask you just a quick scenario. Last week for that Alabama game, did you agree before it happened with going for two right there?
I'll give you my live report on the 15 seconds after Jaden Daniels scored. My first thought, first thing popped in this brain was just kick it, keep playing. My second thought, like 3 seconds later, was, well, wait a minute, they screwed the extra point up against Florida State. You don't want to have that happen again. You do have a freshman kicker. I said, and then I thought, 3 seconds after that, in the new rules in college football, when you get to the second overtime, you have to go for 2. Yep. And LSU would have had to return to offense in the second overtime because Alabama was on offense first in the first overtime. So then I'm like, no, you go for 2, just go for the win, make it happen. What I didn't know, which I should have guessed, Brian Kelly had a play that Alabama hadn't seen. They hadn't run it all year. He used it at Notre Dame against Bama in 2014, and there was a pick play, and that was called and nullified it. So he had something he thought would work. He had a quarterback who, if Mason Taylor was not open, would have figured out a way to run it into the end zone. And so that was my 15 seconds. I'm like, go for it. And
a lot of things clicking.
Yeah, my brain was flying around, so I'm like, hey, and it worked, and then the game was over. I mean, you went from the most euphoric feeling insane. Of Daniels' touchdown run for 25 yards, and then literally in Alabama's defense, they had 12 guys on the field. That one dude barely got off the field out the side of the end zone, or it would have been a penalty. I had a thought, like, snap the ball now and then run the play, and if it don't work, you're going to get another play because they got too many people on the field. Kind of like T-Bob Abad did against Tennessee back in the day when he snapped it because he knew that would get him another play instead of a delay of the game. So, again, it's easy to sit on a sofa and think about all that. But I credit Brian Kelly for having that play ready to go and the team for executing it.
Whenever it did happen, we were in the stadium. Everybody was like, "Oh no, kick it!" Because we saw the team offense coming back out, and they were like, "Oh, they're going to go for 2," and everybody next to me's kick it. And I said, "I will die on the hill. That whether they get this or not, Brian Kelly made the right decision. I think that there was just too much momentum. You're playing at home. You've already been burnt this year. Go for 2 here." They lined up in that set, and I'm sitting next to my girlfriend, and we got our regulars sitting in front of us, and I said. And they lined up, and I'm looking at the formation. I said, it's trips right, sprint right. They said, what? I said, they're going to run trips right, sprint right. And that's exactly what they ran. For whatever reason, my brain clicked. That's the exact same play that Clemson ran against Bama to win the national championship. And I watched the formation, and for whatever reason, I called it. And I watched the play in slow motion form. Surreal, like I said, to watch the Mason Taylor go across the pile. It was insane.
Well, November's when championship teams surface, okay? And Brian Kelly said that 2 months ago. And we've all known that. You get to November, you kind of know who's good, you kind of know who's not real good. A little easy. I say it's easier to pick games in November because you have more data, you got more info to study and research before you make a particular pick. So I've always thought that. But it's also going to be the games you can't get right. I mean, I love Ole Miss and the points against Alabama tomorrow. I like Tennessee laying that big number. So, it's all out there, but, it's not foolproof by any stretch because you certainly can be wrong. Most people are wrong almost half of the time. But I do have some picks at Talking Sports with TK. Anthony Gallo and I have some picks. Trey Blossman's picks will go up later today in a podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, look for Talking Sports with TK. Hunter, as we mentioned, a lot of other big games. Alabama,
Yep.
Ole Miss, Tennessee. It's got a big one with Missouri, big favorites, but they need to make a statement. They need to get it out there. Your thoughts on the rest of college football on this weekend coming up?
It's going to be interesting. Like you said, I am also a fan of, I think it was 20.5 when I looked at it, Tennessee over Missouri. I've been looking at that game as well. I was one. I mean, I'll be the one to straight up say it. I was wrong about Tennessee last week. I mean, they offensively, I thought end up being a shootout. I thought Georgia's defense wouldn't be able to stop Tennessee, and I was very much mistaken. Tennessee got the whooping put on them. But I do think that this could be a turnaround game. That it makes you feel like Tennessee knows that they're better than the way they performed, and maybe that's why they'll put those points up. That'll be a really good game. But I think that the game that everybody's talking about is that Ole Miss and Bama game. There's a lot at stake there. Ole Miss's chances of even touching the top of the West stand with if they can knock off Bama tomorrow. And stay within the race because like we talked about, LSU controls their destiny right now. It'll be a very great matchup. There's a lot of great football tomorrow, and like we talked about, Tulane's got a big game tomorrow too. Tomorrow, against UCF. And I just love to see how well the Green Wave are doing this year. Because I was having a conversation with my buddy this week talking about Tulane. It's just crazy to think if the expansion had already happened, Tulane's got a really good shot of being within the playoff, with being in that top 12 by the end of the season if they consistently keep winning.
Yeah, no, I hope Ullman Stadium's packed down there like it was a couple of weeks ago. UCF's a really good team. Their quarterback's the former Ole Miss quarterback / baseball player, Plumlee. They're going to have to contain him. And, big one for the Green Wave, and I wish them well. Right now, they're in a New Year's Six game. But if they lose this game tomorrow, that could get out of the picture. Also, I got a free pick from Sports Shorts Daily, meatandpotatoesusa.com. Illinois -6.5 against Purdue. Illinois has got one of the best defenses in the country. They're at home. They stumbled last week. They're not going to let that happen again. So a little free pick from TK there for you. Illinois, I've worn on them several times this year. Illinois -6.5 tomorrow against Purdue. That's a really good, solid pick in my mind.
I like that one. I do. I think you're right about that. I think this is very much a bounce back game. And I kind of think the spread's a little I expected it when it opened to be over 7, like closer to 7.5 or 8. So when it opened under, I thought the same thing. So I'm riding on that pick with you too.
The coach at Illinois is Brett Bielema. He had all that success at Wisconsin. Arkansas didn't work out real well for him, but he's got Illinois working out, and they're on the correct side of the divisions in the Big Ten. They may end up in that Big Ten championship game, and that's something nobody would have thought back in August. All right, Hunter McCann here with us on Sports Shorts Daily. Please like and share this video. That's very important. Hunter, the New Orleans Saints on the road against the Steelers. Two bad teams. Saints are 3-6. Steelers are 2-6. Saints a road favorite, 1.5. Steelers are a mess. Can't figure out the quarterback thing. The Saints can't figure out the quarterback thing. I think if you're having trouble sleeping, put on the Saints game, you'll be out in about 10 minutes.
That might be a pretty good bet. Like you said, both not great teams. I do think in this situation, the favored towards the Saints is the right way that the books have it. As bad as the Saints are, the Steelers have no identity. I mean, they really don't. Kenny Pickett is not good. he's just not getting it done for the team. They haven't been able to get any momentum moving with them. And the Saints, they've struggled. They've been inconsistent. But coming off a bad game so far, we've seen that they usually turn it around the next game and have a great game and give us hope again. So I do like the Saints in this game against the Steelers. It's crazy to think about. So last night, the Panthers knocked off the Falcons, okay? Now, if the Steelers in Germany knock off the Bucks, the Saints are now playing. If they beat the Steelers, are now tied for first place again. Seriously, can you fathom that to me? How terrible the NFC South is? Because look, there's a very good chance the Steelers knock off the Bucks. Their offense has been explosive. The Bucks defense has been inconsistent all year, and their offense has been terrible. Tom Brady hasn't been able to find his groove until the last 2 minutes of the Rams game last week. So we'll see if that carries over after that long jet-lagged experience to Germany.
Well, as you said, the NFC South is terrible. That's the worst division in the NFL. But guess what? Whoever wins that division is in the playoffs, and obviously they're not going to get a wild card team. So if you win that division, I don't care what your record is, you're going to get a shot in the playoffs. So that's kind of big. Hey, speaking of playoffs, high school football playoffs get underway this weekend. Get out there. I got lots of friends that are coaches. I got family members that are coaches. So get out there and support the prep playoffs. It's going to be very exciting tonight. Hunter, LSU women's basketball is in action tonight. Hunter, they're only averaging 111 points a game. They're averaging 111. Now, that's not going to keep up, and they've been playing basically air, but 111 points per game. And they play Mississippi Valley State. Lady Tigers, they don't call them Lady Tigers anymore. Kim Mulkey's team is ranked number 16, and they're going to get a name that score win against Mississippi Valley State tonight at the PMAC, 7 o'clock tip. And men's basketball plays 5 p.m. tomorrow against Arkansas State. They got a win the other night, Matt McMahon. So LSU basketball is underway, but, of course, football is stealing the thunder right now.
Yeah, you got to love it, though. I was very excited. I'm always in this time of year to get LSU basketball back. The women's and the men's are both very entertaining. Did watch the men's game the other day. Thought the team looked exactly how I thought they would. They're not wonderful yet, and nor do I think they may be under a new coach, but they got the job done. There was a lot of good and a lot of bad, and that's what you expect from the first game of the season under a brand new coach. So I'm excited to see what they can do against Arkansas State because I think that'll give them a bigger test than UMKC did.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But the focus is on football, the LSU-Arkansas game, the rest of college football, the SEC West. All of that is clearly the focus. New Orleans Pelicans lose at home to Portland last night. Pelicans a 9-point favorite. A lot of people took Portland on the money line. They won by 11. Zion did have 17 points in the fourth quarter, but Pelicans are now 6-6. They'll host the Houston Rockets tomorrow night. They need to play better defense.
That's the key. The defense has been struggling, and CJ McCollum needs to figure out his consistency because this week has been probably his worst week of basketball. Last night he did a little bit better than a few days ago, but I mean he was like 0 for 10 going into the fourth quarter a few days ago. Like he just isn't playing well, shooting the ball well. But I think that, like you said, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to this team needs to find a way to have a defense. They're not going to turn every possession into points, but they shouldn't allow the opposing team to be able to do that.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if they can get that showed up. Long way to go in the NBA.
It's early,
no question about that. So, hey, once again, Ronnie Rance is on a business golf trip as he continues to prepare for the senior tour. Now that he's old enough, he qualifies now due to his age, so he can play the senior tour, and that's what he's doing right now. He's getting ready for that. A couple of things we want to remind you about before we get out of here. The LeBares Casino and Hotel, the Barstool Sportsbook, where Sports Shorts Radio will be on tomorrow night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the Barstool Sportsbook. Hunter McCann and Derek Beckley, Ronnie Rance. I'll be over the phone. I'm working the USSSA baseball tournament this weekend, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Check that out. Almost like an extension of the post-game show at 104.5 ESPN. But y'all going to have fun on that show at Barstool Sportsbook.
Oh,
what
it's going to be great.
Spectacular place.
Oh, it's absolutely. It's going to be so much fun. And to be able to do it at night, the sportsbook's going to be popping. Casino floor is going to be crazy. So hopefully we get a pretty good crowd out there and be able to have some fun. And hopefully the Tigers get it done tomorrow, and so we have a little something to talk about and celebrate.
Hey, don't forget Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Order your turkeys now, all the side dishes. Stop by here on Jefferson Highway, right down the street from Parkview Baptist Church or School. You see the website on your screen, Tremontis.com. Tremontis.com. They got all the info there, all the pricing, fried turkeys, rotisserie, smoked turkeys, all the side dishes, whatever you're going to need for Thanksgiving. They'll give you a time to pick it up. You can get it the day before. You can get it the morning of Thanksgiving. Always a big crowd here on Thanksgiving morning. So Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, we want you to check that out. Get those turkey orders in. Lunch special today at Tremonti's is fried catfish topped with crawfish etouffee. So
Ooh.
if that makes you hungry, you need to come over here for lunch, no question about it. All right, Hunter, your closing comments on the LSU Arkansas game.
You can't let the emotions of last week take control. I mean, that's what it's going to be the difference maker. You just got to come like it's a business trip and get the job done. And like I said, hopefully the weather isn't affecting anything too crazy with that cold air coming down this evening and making it below 40 for kickoff. But I think the Tigers are going to get it done.
All right, Hunter, we appreciate you pinch hitting for Ronnie as he tries to get ready for the senior tour. You're probably going to have to pinch hit for me next month. I'm having the other knee taken care
Yep.
of, so you may have to fill in with Ronnie a time or two on that. So, as always, good stuff. Appreciate everything you do on Sports Shorts Radio and you being here today. All right,
Absolutely.
Hunter, you have a great day. Where are you watching the game tomorrow?
Gonna be over at my parents' house, so we decided the whole family's getting together early in the morning. That doesn't stop us, so we'll be there having a good time.
All right, that sounds like a good plan. And don't forget Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow night, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge at the Barstool Sportsbook. Hunter, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again soon.